Hey traders, AC Trader here. Today we'll be going over all of the top gainers in the market today, as well as me breaking down my trades that I took today. All right, plan of action today, we had nice and easy. The last few days have been choppy, even though we did have a couple big movers, they were still difficult to trade. We had a lot of influx in the market, meaning a lot of concentrated focus on a few stocks. 300 million shares of volume on some of them, 150 on others. So things have been really thickly traded, and it's been a battle. Things have been trying to grind up, and things have been really tricky to trade. So we're definitely approaching the market with caution today. So the stocks that we had on our charts before we even did anything today was TNON. This was from yesterday. Reason we had it up is we did make a nice big move. However, it did retrace throughout the day, right here, as we can see. And then even at 4 in the morning, after hours open, we did have a unfortunate drop and a nice curl up, but then it completely retraced the move. So TNON was not something I was really looking at 7 in the morning. Unfortunately, the chart setup did not look good to me. The other stocks that we had were DATS. DATS wasn't really something that I was too excited about. We did have a few pop and drop days from the past, and we did retrace quite a bit of the move from yesterday, all the way up from $6 down to $4. So we definitely are on the backside. Not my favorite thing to trade, and kind of more or less the same thing. We did have a pop at 840 and then right back down and nothing else. So didn't take that trade, didn't see anything, no entries or anything like that I liked, no new news that kicked in to get us interested, didn't break any key levels, nothing like that. Next stock we had was THTX. THTX did a very, very similar thing to TNON. Did have a nice pop in the morning, right at the after hours open at 4. Nice little mark all the way up to 3. However, he couldn't hold that $3 mark and actually just flushed right back down to where it was. So now what this is telling me is more or less where market hasn't changed. We're still seeing pops. We're still seeing drops. You have to approach everything with caution. And the last one we had was DM. Like I said yesterday, I didn't think DM was really going to be moving. It did not. We just had a lawsuit that's been going on forever settle, and we couldn't break the yesterday's high of 5 or 491, and we didn't really give it a good try to even attempt it. So DM really wasn't doing anything. That was also later in the day. So in the morning, what we were looking at was something with fresh news, something that was spiking up now and getting moving. Fortunately, first stock that we were looking at was OSRH, and I got there a little late. The reason I got there late was because of my internet. Love it, even though we had this nice move. Look at all these green candles in a row. Absolutely insane. Unfortunately, I didn't get there until late. Now, since I got there late because of my internet, I was unable to do my due diligence of checking the daily chart, checking my key resistance levels, and everything like I normally like to do. However, I did see a couple things here with my entry points. We did get a trade right here because we were retesting that $3 mark, and we did break the previous candle high. So I did take that trade, and I did sell right at that ended candle, right about that 342 mark. I wasn't sure if it was going to go up because I didn't get to check those key levels I wanted to. And we know 350 is a psychological resistance level every $0.50 and whole dollar. So we know that. We took the trade there once that candle closed. Nice move, nice little 40-cent move or so. The second trade we ended up taking was off this candle right here. From 350, we saw the bounce back up over 350. Took the trade right at that spike over 4. So two nice trades. Unfortunately, I did miss the big move. However, and we wanted to be super cautious because of all these green candles in a row. So we didn't want to take too much risk. So for what we had, I think we did great. But since that stopped and it started slowing down, we went ahead and went to the 1 day chart to check everything out and see exactly where everything was. At this point, we were able to put our key resistance levels and check to see where we're at. So we got one there, we got one there, we got one there, there. Now we had this big gap all the way up till 6, roughly, maybe 5:33, 6. So at that point, we were approaching with caution, especially since we did have pretty big rejection right here with a big topping tail. So we started seeing topping tails, topping tails, topping tails, and a big rejection. So at that point, now we have all of our resistance levels completely marked out. All right. Could we have taken trades off this support line? Sure, absolutely. However, with MACD negative, with these big topping tails, didn't look like the best trade. However, did get one more trade on it. So I did see this trend line forming here on the 1 minute, and on the 5 minute, even though we have this massive topping tail and a big red candle, we did kind of have a bull flag forming right here. So once I saw that bull flag and the price broke over this trend and popped through this 399 mark, so I knew that it potentially go over 4 and retest, as well as that trend line and the bull flag. Even though the MACD was negative, I did still take that trade, and it did end up working. A little more risky. However, I did see that break. I did want to take that chance, and I was able to get out right about that 324 mark because of this right here. I did not think we were actually go all the way up to the 450. I thought we would just, get a nice little spike and drop. So, it did end up dropping after that, and unfortunately, that's kind of when it formed that double top we had here. And after that, kind of wasn't interested because we had that big drop, the double top, and the flush for the rest of the day. Didn't take any more trades on it, unfortunately. Could have done it right here, but honestly, no, because look at this big topping tail. It's kind of tough to trade that when you have these massive topping tails. So really our clean trades were right here in the very beginning of the move, and it still got super extended. And then after that, not really much to trade. All right, so moving on to the next stock that we were looking at was BLNE. I think that one was actually earlier in the day because that was on our scanners, but ended up selling off right at 7. Yeah, it did. Okay. So all the attention from BLNE ended up getting taken away and moving over to OSRH, but this one was up on the scanners and ended up selling off. So at that point, we did see a trend of a lot of stocks selling off, so we were super cautious from there. And at that point, I think our attention moved over to SURG. And SURG, not something I was really looking at. It was on the scanners as the top mover. However, it really didn't have much volume, wasn't doing too much. But we did have a nice trend line forming. If I can put it on the right spot, oh boy. Let's do this the right way. Get it right. So when we had that nice trend line forming, and it was able to break through that. So at 9:30, I don't take trades. At 9:30, it dropped perfectly fine. I was watching it throughout the day. And then we were able to break through. And once we broke through, I was wanting to see if it held. At 9:30, 9:35, I typically do not like taking trades because of that increased volatility that we have. And of course, went up, dropped back down. However, we were able to hold that 250 mark. Since we were able to hold that $50 mark, I did see an area to potentially take that trade. Held the 250 mark, and then our old descending resistance line now became a support line. So at that point, we were able to take the trade. Didn't take it off at 250. Wasn't sure how high it was going to go. I ended up cashing out right at the top of this tail of the last candle, just to be on the safe side and ensure that I'm at least getting a little bit out of everything. All right, and the last stock we were looking at was BVPR. BVPR was a little difficult, I thought. Looking at when it started moving was right before 9:30, and I typically don't like to have a trade in at 9:30. The increased volatility, and especially with how things have been lately, a lot of pops and drops, I didn't want to be a part of it. So I wasn't even really looking at it at this point. However, since it did start to spike, I did go to the daily chart to start marking out key points. And then we did have a decent amount of room to run. Yesterday's high was 288. And we had room all the way up to 439. Then after that, we had a little bit of room here. And then another gap that we could potentially fill from 492 all the way up to 559. So we definitely had some room to run on this. However, the biggest problem we had was these topping tails. So we did have this big gap that we could fill. And yeah, could have bought and held. But it's difficult when you have a massive topping tail here. Big doji candle here, topping tail. Another doji candle. And so it wasn't the cleanest trades. And we have these big wicks on both sides. It wasn't the cleanest entries that we could take. However, since we did have these marked out, up top is when we did start to see it get a little interesting. We were able to actually take this trade at, sorry, 1 second here, right here on this candle. The reason we took this trade is because actually we saw this trend line forming. And then if we go to the 5 minute, let's see if we had anything there. Yes, we had the first 5 minute candle to make a new high. So we broke through that, held this support, and we were able to actually go up and break through. So we were able to take this on the 1 minute. Did not do it on the 5, did it on the 1. So I was able to get up here and break through. I ended up getting out right around 5, about 5. I don't think I ended up taking any more trades here because of all the old topping tails and the pre-existing issues that we were having. Did end up holding, but I didn't like the topping tail here with a lower volume on it than we had on the candle beforehand. MACD isn't really open too much. Wasn't worth the risk for me. If we got up over the 559 mark, I probably would have been a little bit more interested and went for it. But I think we didn't take the trades because then it started going back down for the rest of the day. So, I mean, all in all, not a bad day. Did take a few trades that ended up pretty well. 1 or 2 losers. It did end up working out pretty well, though. All right, guys. That'll be it for today. Please like and subscribe.